Hey Nerfers, I'm Addy Thomas.
I am Ben Milton.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Certain Point of View News, and we've got some reviews. We're going to get right into that, but before we get there, just want to remind you can go to our website, certainpov.com, to check out all of our podcasts, Another Pass with Case Aiken. We've got the Scruffy Nerf Herders for all that D20 shenanigans, fun stuff in the Star Wars universe. You can follow all of that again on our website, certainpov.com. All right, let's get right into this news.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we just got a lot to go through, so we're not going to take any time for any banter outside of that.
My face hurts so bad.
Now I kind of want to know. What?
Oh, my... so, Jenny was out today, so I was taking care of the kids this afternoon. Mm-hmm. So, it was my job to make them supper. And so...
Oh, yeah, you told me.
I was making pasta for the kids, making them shells. And unfortunately, like, you know how, like, you got to, like, taste... You got to make sure that the pasta's done, right?
Yeah, so it's tender and not just like a shell. Hard
right,
shell,
or hard. Like, you know, like, sometimes it's a little soft, but then you get, like, that weird, like, pasta... grit in your teeth and stuff. So I wanted to check and make sure it was cool. So I just scooped out a shell and went to like put it in my mouth, and it scooped the boiling water into the shell. And as I went to bite into it, it poured the boiling water right on my lip. And it hurts so bad. It hurts so bad right now. It is actually kind of hard to talk a little bit. Well, it feels like it's breaking open.
Well, this isn't going to make it any easier, some of the news that we have to go through today. So let's start off with Fox Universe, just kind of the general news of what's happening with some of their movies since the Disney buyout. Well, this isn't really that new because it's happened so many times, but Fox's Gambit movie has lost another director. Just before this, Pirates of the Caribbean director Gore Verbinski was on the project. He is now the third director to step away from it. Fox has also rescheduled a bunch of their releases for this year and the following years. Deadpool 2 has now moved up. It actually was scheduled originally for June 1st. It's now moved up to May 18th, so it can get ahead of the Han Solo spin-off movie.
It doesn't put it right next to Avengers.
Yes, exactly, because Avengers is coming out May 4th. So we're going to have, like, May is going to be super packed with what I'm expecting to be all three of them good-ish movies, you know, maybe...
Which one do you think is going to be the weakest?
Han Solo.
Oh, I think Avengers is going to be the weakest.
What? Really?
Yeah, the more I think about this movie, they need to do so much, and there's so many players in this movie.
That was my fear, too, with this movie all along.
It's just going to, like, as I think about it, I will be surprised if I enjoy this movie.
Yeah. I think Deadpool 2 is going to be the best.
For sure.
I could see Han Solo surprising me for number 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, Avengers I think has the possibility. I mean, you're talking about concerns I've had with Avengers from the beginning. Thanos has not been a character I've really cared about.
Like you look about like how, well, not even Thanos as a villain, but you look at how dense Age of Ultron is.
Yeah.
And that has 5 heroes in it.
Yeah, or Civil War is dense too.
Right,
yeah.
And we have 30 heroes plus.
Yeah.
In this, like, there's just no...
We'll see.
How are you going to tell this story and have it interesting? Like,
yeah, I
feel like there's just got to be like everybody gets their like 3.5 minute scene and that's it.
What's interesting, the news story, but the interesting thing is the Russo brothers have said this movie is supposed to be about pain and sacrifice. So which makes it a little, I don't know, it's a little different from a lot of the other Marvel movies. So they haven't been...
Yeah, it sounds more like Justice League.
So let's move back on the schedule here. So Deadpool 2 has been moved up. Gambit has been pushed to June 2019. And here's the one that I'm not crazy about.
Well, they're still trying to make that?
Oh,
even
of course
though they've lost
another
director?
Of course.
How many directors? This is like the 5th director?
Third.
I wasn't paying attention.
I know
I'm
you
in so
don't.
much pain, Addy.
And then the movie that they've rescheduled, I'm not crazy about this because originally the new Mutants horror movie was going to be coming out this April.
Yeah.
It's now actually been pushed to February of 2019.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we're going to wait a whole lot of time for that.
I wonder why they pushed that
movie
so far back.
So the reason was because of the international releases are out in theaters a whole lot longer. There was going to be crossover this was going to end up competing with Deadpool 2. So they wanted to space this out. I think, though, I don't know if I would have spaced it out this way. I think they wanted to get out... I think they could have pushed New Mutants to October. Put it in October. It's a horror movie. Deadpool 2 would be out. Done
May,
at that
June,
point.
July, August. That's 4 months.
Yeah.
It's going to be done.
Yeah,
there's so much happening for superhero genre. Like, if you're gonna go,
and there's almost nothing happening this December, like in terms of nerd movies, especially without
Star Wars.
Yeah, without Star Wars. So I don't know. I think they missed an opportunity there, but
Fox makes weird decisions like that.
Yeah, and this is still Fox making this decision, even though Disney does have some input with this. Now, the good news is, though, Drew Goddard will still be moving forward with an X-Force movie. He's writing and directing that. Production is expected to start on 2019. So I think that's still good news.
So
I like Drew
Goddard. In 2020.
Yeah, Goddard was behind the Daredevil Netflix series.
Yeah.
So I think he's good.
There's a lot of potential there.
Yep. All right, so another big thing coming out this year, Flight of the Conchords is returning for a comedy special, and it's going to be out this May on HBO.
New music! Yay! Right? It's business time.
I think comedy special is the right way to do this. You know, we don't necessarily need a new series, but like just...
I wouldn't mind a new Netflix series. Or new HBO series. I wouldn't mind it,
would be
honestly.
Cool, but like considering those guys are in demand for a lot of different stuff now. Like, so Brett, I think he works on a lot of different movies. I know he was writing the music and doing some of the writing for the last couple Muppet movies.
Oh.
So like Man or a Muppet.
I was wondering like what he does. Like you see Jermaine a lot
exactly
in roles, but you never really see Brett.
Yeah, because he's a little bit more behind the scenes.
That's what I was wondering. What else he did?
Yeah. So and I think he won an award for that. For one of the
he
Muppet
won
movies.
J. Mike's heart.
Oh, I mean, Man or a Muppet was a great song. Or a Muppet of a Man. J. Mike, again, you forget that you're not on mic.
The mic, idiot.
All right, so The Walking Dead is no stranger to changes at showrunner, but this is the first one that isn't a firing. Showrunner Scott Gimple will now be the chief content producer for both The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead and potential TV brand extensions. Meanwhile, Angela Kang, who has been a writer on the show since 2011 and co-executive producer since 2013, she'll now take over as executive producer and showrunner of The Walking Dead, starting with the upcoming 9th season.
It seems like a strange time to make this transition.
Tonally, I think it makes sense for what's about to happen with the series, because the content, like if this series ends kind of similarly to the if this season ends the way All Out War does in the comics, there's a big tonal shift after that. Like there was, I don't know if there's necessarily a big loss of people after All Out War in the comics, but it does take on a new sort of, like Rick has a different role. All of our heroes are kind of in a different place because of a time jump and the way society works. So,
I guess they've finished shooting the second half of the season. At
this point, they've had to.
I guess it didn't occur to me that that's already done, because I was like, well, you're right in the middle of a season. Why is Gimple I guess he finished up this season. Right. Okay. I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
Good luck to her. I hope that she, breathes new life into this show.
Yeah, that's one thing that this show needs. Like, it's interesting because I know I like the show, but I know a lot of people feel it's gotten too repetitive. I think this is the perfect time. This is where new things start to happen and new dynamics start to kind of take place a little bit in the world of The Walking Dead. So it'll be interesting to see if that can be communicated effectively on the TV show.
So the last couple seasons haven't been as acclaimed as the last.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is a true promotion for Gimple, or do you feel like it was like, all right, we gotta shake things up?
I think it's a promotion. I think yes, this season has taken a little bit of a hit because of some of the decisions.
So did last season.
Last season didn't take a hit. This season has comparatively. Last season hit record highs. Yeah, last season did not take those hits. This season has, even though this season has been the better season compared to the last, like overall the last two, if you ask me. Yeah. Just because of the pacing.
Really, they didn't lose listeners. They didn't lose viewers last season with Negan?
No, they hit even higher. They went higher. They had a lot of critical backlash. But like as far as the ratings were concerned, they got some of their highest rated episodes last season. So this season we've started to see the drop off. But I think that could also be that is in response to some of that. So I think it's one of those things, like the attrition takes place over time, not necessarily in direct response to like things as they're happening. I think like we're seeing the same thing with like the oversaturation of the NFL. When it comes to TV viewing, I think people sometimes like you see with new series. I think you see that direct response a little quicker, but with a series that has a little bit more of established reputation, I think that drop off is not going to be as sudden. So, yeah. A Black Widow movie has long been asked for, and it still hasn't shown up on Marvel's upcoming slate. However, Variety reported that a writer was hired to develop a script for a Black Widow movie.
So you have Red Sparrow, like clearly a
Black Widow like
homage,
yeah.
at the very least. She did Lucy.
Yeah.
She did. I mean, like, why wouldn't you? Like, it seems too late, if anything, to do this movie.
Yeah, that's where a lot of people are responding. Now, I know people have added sort of the feminist aspect to that argument as well. I think it's a shame, regardless, just because that a good spy story should have happened in the MCU, and we never got that. And she's a great character for it. You know, she's an actress who can hold her own movie.
I mean, it's interesting because I mean, you're talking about the MCU is really seems to be like looking forward to like going out into space, and the question is like, is there any room for Black Widow in that universe at that point in time?
Well, I don't think everything's gonna go out to space. I think they're still gonna like. Do you think Ant-Man and Spider-Man are good? Like
Ant-Man is going to inner space, which is the same kind of idea. Like this limitless void.
You think that's all his adventures are going to be, though?
Yeah, he's not going to be like. What else is he going to do?
You don't think
like,
he's
going to be shrinking and getting bigger? Like,
yeah, but you think every time he shrinks, he's going to be going into that microverse?
What else are you going to have him do? You going to have him do? Steal more stuff?
Yeah.
Going to the well too many times with that story, man. For a movie, in a comic book for sure. Yeah. But I don't need to see another like Scott Lang stealing something again. You know what I mean?
I guess it's true.
I've already seen that in the theater. I don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. No, I mean like Spider-Man. Who knows? I mean, he because of his power set, you can easily have him doing Guardians of the Galaxy level stuff.
Yeah, his power set does lend himself to being really everywhere in the Marvel universe,
and that's how they use him in the comic books too. Yeah. So
Black Panther.
I think
there's still going to be room for grounded stories.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like that's the direction that they're really excited about pushing towards.
Yeah. Like, you think everything's going to end up going cosmic?
I don't think everything. I just don't think there's going to be a lot of like so far she's been an integral part of the storytelling.
Yeah.
And I don't see her being as major a part moving forward.
Yeah.
I think you have far more cosmic characters to kind of drive that story, the stories.
Panther provides a little bit of a James Bond type of thing. I've heard a lot of inspiration is James Bond like with this upcoming Black Panther movie apparently. So. Which will
maybe Idris Elba will finally get his chance to play Bond after this.
We'll see. So then, let's see. Moving on. Solo, a Star Wars story, is rumored to be scheduling reshoots for the last week of January going into February. The rumors state that these are pickup shots, though, conducted by Ron Howard to get any missing shots he needs for the editing process, and there's no confirmation on a trailer release date for the movie, which will release... The movie, of course, itself will release at the end of May.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was a troubled shoot. I'm okay with them working up to the last minute.
I think these are just normal reshoots at this point. These aren't... What's interesting is because with Rogue One, we heard, like, oh, we have a new guy coming in to rewrite stuff and then reshoot stuff.
Yeah.
This one is just
pick up shots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what's nice is where there's a little less drama now. I do wish they would push this movie to December instead. I think... I'm okay with those having... a full year before another Star Wars movie.
I think it would be wise since you had, sort of a controversial... Well, not just that, there's a controversial The Force Awakens. Like, do you really want to rush right back into a Star Wars film with people feeling kind of uneasy about Star Wars? Or do you just want to let the dust settle a little bit and then bring everybody out for Christmas after they're like, oh yeah, I'm excited to see a Star Wars movie.
Right. And I actually like Star Wars at Christmas. I feel like Star Wars in some ways felt bigger than Christmas for me. Like I kind of like, I'm kind of done with Christmas and I'm just looking forward to Star Wars now in December.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. Well, it's not official yet, but it's pretty much official because Jon Williams has a verbal agreement with J.J. Abrams to score Star Wars Episode 9. Williams has scored every single Star Wars Skywalker Saga movie, starting with the original in 1977.
It's your last job, John. You better do it right.
Hey, he's done a great job.
He has.
Like the Last Jedi soundtrack, there's about 4 tracks that I've added to my soundtracks playlist that I go through pretty regularly. It has a lot of other it has a lot of prequel and original trilogy stuff, and it has a little bit of Rogue One as well in there. But
do you think we'll get anything iconic like Duel of Fates, or do you think he'll go out real big? I want to do The Force Awakens borrowed a lot of and integrated a lot of the past stuff into it. Do you think he's gonna be all right, now I want to write a new thing going forward?
I don't think we're gonna get new, but I think we're gonna get iconic. So here's the thing. Duel of the Fates is sort of a standout. Duel of the Fates and the Cantina theme song are the two standouts in
Those are the ones that everybody loves.
But they are also very different from everything else. Duel of the Fates also kind of connects back to Battle of the Heroes later on, but Battle of the Heroes feels a little bit more muted. That Battle of the Heroes is the music during the Obi-Wan Anakin fight. But Battle of the Heroes mixes a little bit of Duel of the Fates with Anakin's theme, like Anakin and Padme's theme is kind of mixed in there too. But what's been cool with The Last Jedi is Rey's theme. It has really been interesting because you had it show up in Force Awakens. I've heard it in a couple other places. The Star Wars show, their weekly YouTube series from Lucasfilm, with all their Star Wars news and PR and announcements and all that fun stuff. They use Rey's theme actually as their opener.
Okay.
So I hear it all the time, But what was really cool is the way it's used in Last Jedi is they blend it in a really cool way with Kylo Ren's theme, which is also the same as the First Order theme. But that when they're fighting together, you hear just both themes fulfilled in a better way, but you can hear it's sort of a step along the way. Mm-hmm. So I think we're gonna hear Rey's theme in its full sort of glory in Episode 9, and Kylo Ren's theme will hear fully realized there. There were some other themes that are there's some music leading up to the big confrontation on Crate with Luke's force projection versus Kylo Ren. Maybe that'll get some treatment. It's hard to say because if you look back, for me, one of the best examples, and I know Sean will like this, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy is one of the best examples of how to craft music. But the Gondor theme is a perfect example of that, because you hear it in the it's echoes basically in Fellowship of the Ring. You hear it a little bit more because Gondor becomes a bigger deal in Two Towers, but you hear it in its full glory in Return of the King, especially in the Battle of Minas Tirith. So I think it's one of those things that we just kind of have to wait to see how these themes really play out, because the Force theme was a big deal, that's next to the Imperial March and the main theme. The Force theme is the next big Star Wars theme. That's Luke's theme when he's on the Twin Suns on Tatooine. You hear it when Yoda's raising the X-Wing out of the swamp. You hear it during all the big, star battles outside of Death Stars. So I think it's a matter of seeing how it plays across all of the movies before we can see it as iconic,
Yeah.
So that was a long answer to
that.
Yes.
Was, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't know. I like that.
No, it was good.
The music is one of the really special things about Star Wars.
It is, absolutely.
So.
And Jon Williams coming back to do this final one is, I wouldn't want it in anybody else's hands. It would feel wrong to turn it over to Danny Elfman.
Right. But isn't it pretty amazing though that there's a guy who was part of this original movie in 1977 when it was pretty much a gamble. Yeah. And it's still a part of it. Was it 40
him and
some
Anthony
years?
Daniels. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. And no, even Warwick Davis wasn't on the first. He was Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So, wow.
It's those two guys.
Yeah. That's crazy. You're getting old.
Yep, it's time for me to die. Time for me to just stare off into the sun and fade away.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I don't want you doing the whole, like, your clothes fall off, because the problem is you don't get to fade away. There's going to have to be people who see you, like, running away from your clothes falling. Like,
please, I'm so fat and out of shape I couldn't run. It'd just be like a
makes it even worse.
It'd be like a slow, awkward, naked gander away.
The way you hear Luke yell "no" when Ben dies would be the exact same tone, except all horror.
He's so white.
According to the Wrap, Warner Brothers will adopt a fewer cooks in the kitchen approach to the DC Films universe.
That's too bad.
In the aftermath of Justice League's disappointing box office run. This means that newly promoted chairman Toby Emmerich will no longer have to greenlight by committee and will answer to no one but CEO Kevin Tugiara. Apparently, this new policy also extends to how the projects will be marketed. One insider reveals that many at Warner Brothers from the Justice League promotion was bizarre. It may have ultimately cost them a bigger opening weekend. Some of the blame for this seems to have been laid at the feet of veteran marketing chief Sue Kroll, who is said to have hated superhero movies and has now moved on to a producing role. It remains to be seen if this shakeup yields any positive results. But one thing is for sure, Tushihara wants the DCEU, or whatever it's officially called, to forge ahead without attempting to duplicate the Marvel formula. He says Warner Brothers needs to continue doing what it's always done, producing the biggest, most diverse slate in the business. And that's what made it successful. We can't do what Disney's done. It's worked really, really well for them, but it's not who we are. We need to continue to create a balanced slate of all types of movies in all genres. There's a lot to unpack in this one.
That is a big story. Yeah, that's like 4 stories.
Yeah, so the first part is, I think ultimately it just kind of shows how dysfunctional as an organization Warner Brothers is right now, especially when it comes to a film universe. And I think they're just not, I'm not sure. I just feel like they keep on taking the wrong lessons away from Marvel. They don't need to necessarily replicate exactly what Marvel is doing. In fact, in some ways, I kind of wish that they didn't pursue a film universe, that they just try to make good superhero movies with DC characters and not have to make the movies connected. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that, well, I mean, you can look at any trilogy and say that's a universe, right? Like you can, like the Nolan, we call the Nolan trilogy, we call it the Nolan Batman universe. Like it's the Batman universe. Like, yeah, nobody else shows up in it, but like that. Anytime you make like a multiple movie, like even, you know, going back to Michael Keaton's Batman, like that run, like that's a universe, like, right? So you look at it like that. They've created successful universes in the past. They just haven't recently. Like this last attempt at creating a universe has failed. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think they've taken the wrong lessons from Marvel and have tried desperately to say we're not going to do what Marvel is doing. But the reality of the situation is, if you're going, like, you have to do some of the things that Marvel is doing to be successful.
Well,
you don't have to do it all. You don't have to do it all. I'm not saying you can't have your own tone, your own style, your own ideas, but there's like a almost like a procedural thing that Feige is doing with Marvel. Yeah, that's working, right? And I think that they haven't had the right people in place. Like you mentioned in the story with Sue Kroll, Sue Kroll, who hates superhero movies. Like, you probably shouldn't have that person in your superhero division. Yeah. If that's true.
The thing is, it's being handled by Warner Brothers, is doing all the work, and Warner Brothers doesn't have like a dedicated look. So one of the things with Marvel is Disney, runs the show. It basically, Disney empowers the Marvel Entertainment Group in the same way that they let Lucasfilm run themselves. They let Marvel run itself.
But Warner Brothers is notoriously not going to do that.
Exactly.
They want complete control of everything, but they don't necessarily understand the IPs that they're working with.
Right. So if they're doing that, I think unless they decide to do a similar thing and just create a DC Entertainment Group that's going to run itself and just empower them.
That's what it sounds like they're trying to do. They got one guy in charge now instead of a committee.
Yeah. That's true.
Which would be the power that Feige has.
Yeah.
We're trusting you to handle this, and we're going to get rid of all of the other people who have had a say in this that have mucked it up along the way.
Right.
And we're going to let you run this.
In some ways, I think, though, a lot of people are looking at the Marvel universe as like, oh, it's this well-run machine. It's, they've got a formula. They got something that works.
Comparative to everybody else in the industry, yes.
I think they're forgetting some of the growing pains they've had in this universe. Like, there's like, we were talking about this a little while ago on another episode, but there's a lot of messiness to the creative process.
Yeah, for sure.
And not too long, there were only a couple years ago, they had to, Kevin Feige had to work Ike Perlmutter out of the Marvel universe because of a lot of the things he was messing with. They had to get a committee with a bunch of the comics, the comics writers off of their back as well, because they changed who was supposed to be the villain in Iron Man 3 because they didn't feel a female villain would sell toys.
Right.
Like that was Shane Black couldn't say, wasn't able to make the character he wanted be the villain because of that kind of interference. Right. So we've had problems in Marvel. It's just
but you haven't had back to back
failures
movies. I mean, these movies have made enough money.
But critically failures.
Critical failures.
Outside of Wonder Woman, they've all been critical failures.
Yeah. So you can have as much drama as you want as long as you're making good movies. That's the most important part, and that's where Warner Brothers has failed, is they just haven't put out good product lately in this genre. I forget all the movies outside of that they've put out. Whoever's taking over did good with what was the horror movie genre?
Right, The Conjuring.
The Conjuring, that's been fair. Yeah, that did well for them. Yeah. So it's not like Warner Brothers doesn't know how to make good movies.
Right.
They just don't have the right people in place to make good movies in this genre yet.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to our reviews. So before we get to the actual reviews of TV shows, there have been a couple trailers that came out. Did you get a chance to see that Krypton TV show trailer? Yeah.
Yep. There's one thing I want to see less than a Superman story.
Yeah.
There's a story about people who knew Superman.
Well, didn't even know Superman.
Yeah.
Superman's
like grandparents. Who cares? This
looks like Brainiac awful. Is going to be a villain for
Brainiac is the villain.
Yeah.
He is the villain that sets in motion the destruction of Krypton.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting idea. I'll give them that. That is an interesting idea because it kind of gives Brainiac.
Been done before.
It's been done before, but we haven't seen it
kind of. Like Brainiac was sort of setting stuff, and Brainiac didn't help. Basically hid Krypton's destruction from them in the animated series.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, we're getting to see it in live action.
J-Mike is looking at me skeptically because he is, of course, the Superman authority in this room, but he clearly doesn't know the Superman animated series.
Yeah.
So,
he's read like 4 Superman.
I think he feels
books,
ashamed that a Batman fan knows more about him.
3 more than I've read. Here, I'm not interested in this in the least. The least.
I'll watch the pilot.
I'd rather watch Gotham.
Yeah. I mean, all right. See, here's the thing. So I remember in a chat group you mentioned that this is has the same problems as Gotham. And trust me, Gotham is awful. I don't know if this has the exact same
Superman
connected to it.
Who wants to see a Superman story without Superman?
I don't think that's the problem of Gotham, though, is that it's a Batman story without Batman. It's just that it has a lack of focus. Because I think Gotham is an interesting place that if they did a Jim Gordon story like they originally
Krypton is an interesting place?
Who knows?
No, it's not. This is why we blew it up, because it's not interesting.
I don't know. I'm gonna. I don't. Here, my full expectation is the series is gonna be awful, but I'll give it at least one episode.
Just so you can say, yeah, it is awful.
Yeah. Probably.
All right.
Did you get to see the trailer for the Teen Titans Go movie?
No.
No? Oh my god, so Teen Titans Go, I'm not a fan of. I know it's just not made for me. It's definitely made for younger kids. This trailer was great. It's gonna be in theaters. Let me pause.
Oh, it's going to theaters?
Yeah. So we just paused. I know that doesn't feel like we skipped any time.
And we're back.
Like there was just a couple minutes right there where we paused the recording and Ben watched the Teen Titans Go to the Movies trailer.
Yep.
I mean, again, this is not my show. I like that trailer. First, they make fun of everyone's obsession with Wonder Woman. And then they make fun of Aquaman. I mean,
and they get a good fart joke.
Yeah, right?
This might be my movie.
Yeah.
This might be the best thing DC's produced.
And Cyborg, where, as J. Mike mentioned, he belongs with the Teen Titans, and this is where he works best.
Yeah, this might work. I mean, thank goodness for Movie Pass. Otherwise, I wouldn't see this.
I still gotta go see Jumanji with Movie Pass. Anyway, moving on. We had the finale for the first season of The Runaways.
Hey, they ran away, sorta.
They actually ran away.
Sorta.
They ran away.
They went across town.
That's running away.
Okay.
They're not living at their home.
No, they're living on a hill. They ran from the hills to go sit on top of a hill.
Well, but then they're also on the run from the law too.
Yes, they are.
So that is a bigger deal. Stop being cynical, Ben.
Ways they didn't really get far. Like they made it across town. Like,
right.
They're pretty bad at it. They're pretty bad for being called the Runaways.
I don't think. Well, if they end up running away all the way, I don't think. I think
that's
essentially that takes them away.
That's what I want.
They're supposed to be confronting their parents.
No, that's what I want. I want their parents chasing them, and I want them going from town to town, like Bill Bixby.
You really have not read
Hulk.
this series, have you?
No, and I just want I want the sad piano music as they leave each town. That's what I want.
Well, then you could go watch that Incredible Hulk series.
I love that series. It's so much better than the Runaways.
Yeah. So the Runaways not great, but I do like the development that
it was
they
good.
have. Yeah, the kids. I still am not.
There's nobody there I liked in the kids.
Yeah.
There's nobody I like. There's no hero in this story.
Yeah, I think the adults are still far more interesting.
Way more interesting.
But what's interesting. So I know in the comics, I've only read like bits here and there, but they're much more one-dimensional villains. Like they're just like straight up like the Runaways become heroes and they take down the parents. There are other people behind them. Blah blah blah. You know, the big cult that they're a part of and everything like that. Whereas here they've created some nuance, and these are some incredibly well-developed villains, if you ask me. Better
developed villains than they are the kids.
Well, not just more than the kids, but I would actually go out to say that they've developed, like, there's a lot of nuance to what makes these guys, what makes each of these characters tick, the way they interact with each other, like. I can't say that they're necessarily on Kingpin or Purple Man level yet, but I think the stage is set for them to be interesting in that way as well.
I would like to see them do some more villainy shit in order for me to give them those kind of credits.
Well, they've been doing some pretty messed up stuff as far as sacrificing kids. So but doing it in the name of, even though it's still for their own personal interest.
Yeah.
And like the nuance of what was, I forget her name, tech guy. Or the abused wife, like the fact that she's
having an affair.
The fact that she's a scientist in her own right, but
not smart enough to.
No, not that she isn't smart enough, but that she kind of took like sort of the hits for the family because she decided to raise a family and sort of take a seat back, but that there's a lot of unrealized potential to that. I thought that was an interesting like nuance to some of these characters and the way the dynamics between each of these families and the relationships. I think there's a lot of thought into the interpersonal relationships, which doesn't make for great action, but makes for some interesting character stories, and I think will pay off hopefully in the next season. I'm bored to watch a second season.
I'll continue to watch. Yeah.
So. Then we had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Got a new episode there.
We did, and I was very disappointed.
Really?
I really wanted them to kill Crazius.
Oh, you thought he was dead?
Yeah.
Oh, I
thought they cut his throat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like when I watched the previous episode, I thought that they cut his throat, not his cheek.
Oh, I'm so much glad. I'm really glad that he's alive, because first off, a warrior, he looks like he should be an insurance adjuster. He does not look like he's that, like, a badass warrior. The way they've built him up to be is like, oh, he's
huge.
He's tall. He still looks like, he just looks lanky. He doesn't look fierce in any way.
Right.
The Cassius, like, has a little bit of, he looks like Joaquin Phoenix. So he has a little bit of, like, Like he reminds me
moody and emo.
Yeah, but he reminds me of that sort of instability that what's his face had from Gladiator, that Joaquin Phoenix's character had from Gladiator.
Gotcha.
So I find him interesting.
I think he's interesting, but I was disappointed he lived.
Yeah,
because I would have been a cool move, like to have Fitz kill him. Like really would have been cool for Fitz.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, he's still alive.
So what did you think of where they took him as a villain, though?
Good. Yeah, like having him murder his brother was cool.
Yeah.
They're on the. I just want to know where this show's going. Like, we're so far into this season, and I'm like, I still don't know what it's about.
We saw S.H.I.E.L.D. is still around on the surface. I thought that was an interesting development.
Yeah, so I just want to know, like, where are we going? What are we doing here? Like, where's this all going? What happened to the Earth? Like, they're doing a great job of keeping the story moving along without ever telling a story.
Yeah.
That's really what this season is pretty.
So it feels like a lot is going to depend on a big reveal at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
The strength of that reveal.
Yeah, so, that's really what it feels like. Whether or not this season is going to be any good is going to really depend on that reveal. Yeah. And if you can sit around long enough to get there.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. I'm enjoying
it, but I'm getting to the point where like I'm not enjoying this as much. Like I kind of want to know what we're doing here.
All right, and then I don't know if we should talk about this yet. Did you catch up on The Good Place? Do we want to talk about The Good Place yet? So, or do we want to let people?
I saw the first episode. I haven't seen the second episode.
So the last episode, we told everybody, go watch The Good Place.
Yeah.
It's not a nerd show, but it's a fun show. And it kind of is in line with some of the things that we like talking about.
I haven't watched that, and I haven't watched X-Files yet.
Yeah.
I saw the first episode of both of those seasons.
Yeah. So we'll hold off again on Good Place and X-Files. Tell us about it next week. How's that?
Okay, sounds good.
So other than that, we don't have a whole lot else coming up in the next couple of weeks. Our big things are Black Panther's coming up next month. The Tick is coming back for the rest of season 1 on Amazon Prime.
Oh, when is that?
Also at the end of February.
Okay.
So we got a little bit of time. A
little dry spell here.
I saw Captain Underpants. The movie is on Netflix, and I wanted to see that, but I didn't have Movie Pass then. So I'll probably watch Captain Underpants soon.
Come on over and watch it with Aiden.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
He'd love it.
Yep. So let us know again what you think on any of the stories that we've talked about today or any of the TV shows that we've talked about. You can go to our website, certainpov.com. All of our podcasts are there. You can also join us in the Fantasy Movie League. We set up, you basically have 8 screens where you can choose what movies play on each of those 8 screens, including you could duplicate multiple movies. And basically whoever has, based on the numbers that those movies do over the course of that weekend, in reality, you then get results like that, and you can figure out who had the most profitable theater. You can go to our website and sign up for the Fantasy Movie League and join our league. Just go to certainpov.com. Until next time, stay scruffy, my Nerferders.